Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. Never mind my didn't get any proper sleep type of hair. So we're doing this with a bit of style today. So, hi, and obviously I am dropping in a little bit off schedule because Ariela has been kind of sick-ish ever since like Friday. So we had a bit of a rough night, and I just wanted to do this live, while I still have enough energy and, can speak English, obviously, so well that I can be understood and that I can convey I was just finishing messaging with one of my clients, and I was like, oh my God, I really need to talk about this today, because it is so obvious when you're on the other side of things, or when you are not mid creating, mid, leaping, because things seem so confusing, or things seem so as if out of control, while it is actually going, to the T, by the plan, and, all the manifestation steps are taking place, and leap is gaining that momentum. And so I just want to be that, mirror to you, who are thinking, overthinking, delaying, doubting, and, not being sure about things. And how can you just kind of cut to the chase, right? So, hey, hi, everybody. Hi, Anders, and, everybody who's going to be watching this outside of the group as well. So my name is Helena, and I'm the CEO of the Success Matrix company, where we help global service providers create, sell, and deliver those 5-figure packages from their genius work, and we help them create those 6-figure leaps in their business with the vehicle, of course, of high ticket sales and my 4-step genius strategy, and with the help of live conversion events, as we like to call it, right? So that can be anything from live launch or live challenges, or whatever your kind of best way of delivery is. So in that way, we help people, and specifically women as well, to reach their new mental and emotional and financial levels and leaps, while creating a happier life. And happier life is not something that, comes to me lightly, because we all know that at the same time that is a mindset, and it's something that we kind of align with every day and basically constantly, right? So hi, if you're watching, drop me an emoji for, let's say, happy life, right? Happy life. And so I just want to get to the point of what was going on for the last couple of days while I was working with this client on her new amazing transformational package, of course premium, and of course at a price range where she never ventured before, and kind of what all came up, right? So it's kind of everybody that is watching this has, let's say, a 5-figure offer, or a 5-figure genius method offer in their, it's sitting in your computer, it's sitting in here, it's sitting in here, and it's something that you have done with your clients, but just kind of have a lot of resistance of seeing it or looking at it with this new eyes of hey, the work that I'm doing is actually producing amazing results. My clients are experiencing specific type of changes and transformations, and significant, let's say, emotional or a mental or financial even, changes, or in their relationship, like what Daniela is doing right now. If you haven't checked Daniela is doing sorry. Daniela is doing her live launch this week on her group program Love IQ, and she has amazing live videos. So go and check her group, You Loved Up. And so I'm not talking about her, I'm talking about another client. So all the work that we do previous to any sale even taking place is because there is so much there's clarity that we're looking for, and of course there's going to be a lot of the things that the person needs to say goodbye to, and release and kind of like let go of, and so that the genius work can actually become more obvious, and can actually become something that is palpable, and something that you can translate into words, and something that you can, of course, like when you show up for a sales call, is something that it's something that you can easily convey, right? And so why is that so hard for some people, right? It is because it is as natural to you, or it just kind of like it turns itself on the moment somebody's asking you a very specific question. And it can be a question around relationships, or it can be a question around money, it can be a question around how do I get myself out of a very difficult situation in your life or business or work, or for others is where do I get new leads, or where are my sales, like where is the money, where is my million, where is my 10K, whatever, right? So, and the moment you hear that question, like something inside of you just goes like I know the answer, and you just go like without a thought, without any overthinking, right? And it's just kind of like it is so easy to you, but to the other person is actually very, very helpful, right? But also the other person cannot understand the value of it until you do. Okay, so they can be like, oh my god, like this was really helpful, thank you, bye-bye, right? I'm using this, I'm running with this, of course, right? But until you understand the value of that, until you can connect the dots for the person, so that not only she sees, like, for example, what is her present situation, problem, difficulty, but also so that you can explain and link it into, a little bit of like, why is that happening? How that can be changed, in what shape and form, that new outcome is going to be so beneficial for her, right? And you can kind of like include or integrate that work in her like private life and in her business, in her like how she sees and perceives herself. So it's kind of like it goes in all areas, right? Any transformational work does that. Okay, so but again, until you know the value of your work and can be like really clear and also, yes, of course, a little bit structured about that, you don't actually know what you have. And you have, let's say right now, as I said in the beginning, everybody watching this has a 5-figure offer, method, package inside of you right now. Okay, and so this is something that has never failed me. So that's why when I was creating that 4-step genius method with my mentor years ago, I was like, this is awesome. This is something that everybody should learn and be using, right? Because it is so, you go around and around and around and around, and you make your life so difficult because you try to avoid something that you don't feel competent, or I'm struggling with this, or yes, but this is my problem, like how can I teach this, right? Sure, if it has been your problem for quite some time and you have gained like skills and education and have coached yourself through that and have made significant changes in yourself, so you have actually learned through that problem. Now your problem is becoming a tool for you can teach others how to kind of like conquer their own problem areas in that area. Okay, does this make sense, right? So because it doesn't mean that you always have to be like, oh yeah, I can teach, it doesn't make sense that you want to be like, well, I want to teach people about how to get to 1K in sales, but I need to be at 1 million to feel like as if I'm like capable and kind of like authority in that field. It doesn't go like that. Okay, sometimes all that the person needs is, or it's more connected to how you're teaching and how well you do the teaching or coaching or taking them from A to B, and how well you're listening and how well you're interpreting whatever it is that you're listening. How well are you able to help them really create that change for themselves? Then whatever it is, whatever type of leaps or whatever it is that you're doing. But of course you have to be doing something, you have to be showing something for yourself, right? Otherwise people will be like, why is she teaching this, right? Like it's not like she's been through this, right? You have to have that experience, right? But it doesn't have to be, yeah, I'm gonna teach about how people get to I don't know, 10K, but I first need to do that like 100 times. Okay, that's really not necessary, because actually the best way we learn is through experience, right? And so the moment you can, you can feel, and you can kind of like allow yourself to be confident about your own, service and about your own experience, because with every new prospect, with every new client that you keep delivering your work gets better. So your confidence gets better, and that's how you gain confidence around delivery. It's not the other way around. It's not like, by sitting by the table and overthinking and thinking about it and reading your signature program and just going over it and going, like, it's not about that. It's about actually getting on the sales calls and kind of like, getting into that uncomfortable position where you actually need to claim what you have been creating for weeks and, months. And in some cases, even like years down the road, people are like, well, hey, this is something that I've been working on like years and years ago, but I just couldn't find that connection, or I couldn't find the language, I couldn't find the confidence, I couldn't like connect the dots for myself. And so I just like ventured totally away from it, right? And it's like, you will all the time, like life will just kind of like lead you back, to, what is, yes, uncomfortable, but it's also the most easy way for you to express yourself, if you know what I mean, right? So for some people, again, that's like relationship or sex or intimacy or writing books or marketing or, copywriting, whatever it is, right? And so for it's that genius is just different for everybody, right? For somebody is, baking a delicious chocolate cake, like, I don't know, right? So it's kind of like, of course, we have levels and, areas, and, they all kind of like tend to come together in a very specific way. And at the same time, we need to be very clear on, where am I at right now? What do I want to be like? What is the level where I want to be showing up now, right? And so the funny thing was, and I knew that the breakthrough was coming, because I was texting with my client. I think it was like Friday, or and she was like, in her like, overthinking mode and kind of like fearing and not feeling this and not feeling that, and like all the things that are natural when you're going for something new, when you're like, because we haven't been really trained to embrace uncomfortableness, like as a sign of like, oh my God, something new, I'm expanding, I'm doing something I've never done before. That's an amazing thing. Like, why weren't we taught that, right? Because it is the most natural thing for any human being to be constantly and always like evolving and kind of like outgrowing, and shedding and like all the things, right? So instead of being like, hey, good for you, you're going through some uncomfortable stuff, but that means you're like, you are going through that tunnel and there's light, at the end of the tunnel. So, this is how you can help your, your own brain even, right? And so when it's like as uncomfortable as if, I'm gonna die, like this is just, what is happening doesn't make any sense, I want to go back, right? It's kind of like where, okay, like momentum is, is really happening. So that's kind of like step one in manifestation mode, right? And so you're getting super, super uncomfortably clear on what it is that you want and what it is that you don't want anymore, okay? And that's unnecessary, the most important, step, right? So it's kind of like really deciding and really kind of like allowing, for whatever needs to come through, you as a vessel, you as, a vessel for purpose, you as a vessel for abundance, you as a vessel for, I don't know, love, IQ, you as a vessel for, other like amazing, beautiful things, right, that people need and want and are ready to pay for, right? So this is where we become the non-resistance also. It's in the, you ask and then you receive. So the second step, it's all about receiving, right? Receiving is as active as it is passive, okay? It is alert, inner state of being, and always being like alert, like what is actually happening? What am I feeling? What are my thoughts? And catching and kind of like tweaking the thoughts into the focused momentum, the positive momentum, right? So kind of like, catching all those thoughts about doubt and immediately transmuting that into, I choose to feel good about myself. I choose to feel good about my decisions. I choose to feel good about where I'm at. I choose to feel good about what I'm experiencing right now, okay? Or whenever we're doing the kind of like complaining, right? We can always transmute and, kind of like transform the complaining kind of like vibes into, accepting, that whatever is happening, whatever is going on, and kind of like allow ourselves to expect good things, right? So that's kind of like when you feel like you're like complaining or not sure, or like, what am I, right? Like you can always just stop complaining and start affirming, like, and start expecting good things are coming to me. I am on the right path. I'm doing exactly what I've desired and planned and worked on for so like many weeks or years or whatever that it, decades even, right? And this is like, I'm worthy of this. I'm worthy of this experience. I'm already seeing the outcome. I'm already being that person, right? So it's kind of like, and instead of like beating up on yourself, which is something that so many people, me included, like, we are trained and used to do. And it's kind of like, the favorite place where you go when you feel like, I'm not sure. It's kind of like, well, but for sure beating up upon ourselves is not helpful. It just kind of like, it makes that hole deeper, right? So when you kind of like catch yourself beating up upon yourself, you can immediately turn that into, some people call that like inner child conversation, or talking to, like the love in yourself, or kind of like the inner being conversations, like whatever you want to call that. But as long as it's like soothing yourself and affirming and praising and like just praise the F out of you, right? Like it's just like, I'm unbelievably like successful. Like everybody wants to work with me in this world. My clients are amazing. They're ready, they're willing, they're coachable. They have the money to pay whatever the price there is because they need this exact, work that I'm offering. They need me in this like very specific time in their life. And, they're worthy of this experience. They feel blessed and grateful to be working with me, and I feel the same. Okay, so you're creating that field of like, you're actually co-creating already how is that experience gonna look like and feel like, and who enters that field, right? So it's kind of like praising yourself into feeling good and into feeling happy and into feeling worthy, right, is the shortest way out of the confusion and doubt and like what is happening and why, and like all the things around when we're creating, and we need to kind of like start discerning, right? And so this is where you can absolutely kind of like help yourself or your clients basically, and be like 3 steps ahead, and kind of like just like, this is normal, but it's a part of the process, and you can also choose for that process to end right now. Okay, so that's, I know it's easier said than done. Okay, so that's why I just did this. I usually do this. I did this with all my clients. I'm like, you have 24 hours, right? Because then this mind chatter stops, and all of a sudden you have a mission, right? So I'm like, you have 24 hours, to deliver, or to go and, get new sales, create new, whatever, like get the clients, right? Because that's the clients, and client delivery is why like coaches are here. So if you're not busy in that way, then you're just like in your overthinking, and you're not being of service, right? So unless, and if you don't have clients, then you should be busy with like doing lives, or getting a massage, or being out in the nature and taking care of yourself, right? So that's what it is, right? And so you would be surprised, but so that all just created like an instant like shift in the attitude of the client that I was talking about. And so she already brought in 1K in sales, and then she had a $15K dollar conversation, which was something that started taking place last week. So, but it's all a process, and if you don't know, if you're not familiar, it can be really, really scary. For for some reason, that's just how we were trained. That's how we operate most of the time, and so you can imagine that most people, when they get scared or uncomfortable, they start to like, they create self-sabotage, or they just pause and they just freeze, right? Or they just go like, no thank you, too uncomfortable, let me get back to, you know, how I used to do things, right? And so when you're leaping, when you're creating that momentum, you don't pick any of those options, but you pick that you're going to trust, and you pick that you're going to trust your own decisions, and you pick that you're going to trust your own desire, and kind of like showing you the way, and that you're going to follow that purpose no matter how uncomfortable it is, because it's not going to kill you. Sometimes it feels like, you know, part of you is dying, but that's ego. But it's like, it's not going to kill you. It's actually going to be creating a much better, not just client delivery experience, but also life for them and for you. So it's give, okay? So I hope this made sense. I'm sure it did. And that was all for today. And, you know, leave your comments or questions, or, you know, whatever you have in you. And those of you who are interested, or who are like, you know, what is my genius? Like, I don't even know how to go about that. You know, what is that, you know, what is that thing that I'm doing, that I'm actually using right now, but I'm not yet utilizing it to the, you know, to the best. And I'm not yet, you know, charging 4 or 5 figures. I'm not yet creating 6-figure leaps with that. You know, let's talk. Let me show you how that is done, and I can, you know, I can point you in the right direction, and kind of like get you going on that, because it is the most kind of like rewarding work that you can ever do. And also in the long run, it's always where, you know, you're going to find all your answers, right? So coaches, we're here to help, support, and, you know, show the way and be that mirror. All of that is amazing and awesome and super, super important and relevant, right? But at the end of the day, if your coach, mentor, whatever you want to call that, is not showing you like how to really rely on yourself, right? And how to ask those super important questions yourself, your source, your genius, whatever you want to call that, right? Then, you know, you are just creating another like unfulfilling relationship that is gonna, you know, eventually gonna fall apart, and you're gonna be like left as if with like, you know, who was the authority here, right? Because you don't want to give your power away. You want to find that power within you, and you want to learn how to lean into that, and you want to, you know, you want to be surrounded with people who actually support you in doing that. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to my daughter and make sure she's fine. She's much better today, so I'm thinking she's gonna go back to school tomorrow. But hey, that's what, you know, that's what mom love does. We take care of the kiddos, we take care of the things. So much love to you all, and let me know if any questions, and I will drop the link for, you know, if you are interested in having that free strategy, whatever you want to call that, call with me. Do make the best use of that. It is highly, you know, recommended by everybody who's, you know, ever done that. So let's do that. Let's talk. Okay. Have a wonderful and powerful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.